Yes. Hello, everybody, and welcome back into the Fantasy Wildcard DFS show. We've got, you know what it is, the best two from the Fantasy Wildcard team dressed in green to win you guys some cash this week. We got me, Mags, find me on X at Hot Seat Mags, and we got the Dynasty GOAT himself, Kev, at Dynasty_GOAT. Kev, mate, how are you? Are you doing well?
We've got the green team. We've got Philly rocking the Kelly greens this past weekend.
So
looking
nice.
absolute sick. Looking forward to tonight's show, man. It's great to be back. Cannot wait to win some money, win our audience some money this week as well. How about yourself?
I'm fired up. I'm like ready to go. I couldn't do DFS. I got a new phone. I got locked up. I drive the whole story. But I'm back in the game this week. I'm fired up. I'm ready to win that Fantasy Wildcard money line once again for the second time. I've won it. You've won it. Ali, that's why he's not here. He's banned. He's not won it. we're going to start off, actually, before we get to tournaments, we're going to do some cash plays. Bit safer, right? You want to go with the crowd. You don't want to take any huge risks. You just want to get your team to beat half of the field. And to do that, you got to pick some safe bets. Kev, you got some safe quarterbacks for us to start off, right?
Yeah, I guess cash, it's all about just thinking like a normal person, just thinking really straightforward, popular plays, logical plays. Had to start with the main man from last week, Lamar Jackson. 8-100 is at the Cardinals, which again, that's a perfect recipe, isn't it? Taking on the Cardinals, that's a cash play every week because it's going to be so popular. I think just with Lamar, with who he's playing, it makes it a little bit lower of a ceiling for me in DFS, the fact that the Cardinals could potentially get blown out. Really safe in cash. It is quite expensive, but in cash, because you're not always chasing top dollar players. You could play Lamar and have a balanced team everywhere else other than that. So I think he's super safe. He's someone that I'll be targeting this week in cash. I think he'll be really popular based on destroying a really, really strong Detroit team last week. And then my alternative, it's a guy that's maybe not been fantastic, but he has come on in the last couple of games, last couple of weeks. And that's Dak Prescott. I think 6,100. He's playing the Rams. He's at home, which is the biggest thing for me here.
Yeah.
I think there's more to come from the Cowboys. I don't think they've really hit the stride on offense. The defense has been pretty solid throughout. But yeah, I think just with how he's trending, 6,100, he probably needs a 15 to 20 point game to really hit as a cash QB. I think the price is plenty low enough for him to do that. So they're my picks at cash QB.
Yeah, I think with Lamar, like he's just been unbelievable the last couple of weeks. Like he's going to continue to grow. Remember, this is a new system for him as well. Like he's only going to get better. And let's hope Dak Prescott calls some audibles like Kenny Pickett, because Mike McCarthy's absolutely terrible. So let's hope that he continues to call audibles as well. But at 6,100, that is so cheap for someone so good as Dak. So I think that's a great shot. And I've got some running backs for you. I've got two guys that have been can we shed some love on like Travis Etienne here? He has been unbelievably good, and nobody seems to really talk about it. Like he's right up there with the top performing running backs in the NFL right now. You can still get him for 7,200. He's going up against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Yes, they do have TJ Watt, but I'm hoping that he's going to be too busy scaring Trevor Lawrence and a little bit away from Travis Etienne. And actually, someone like a TJ Watt can put the fear of God in you, so can get those quick checkdowns to Travis Etienne, who might end up eating against the Pittsburgh Steelers, who, still continue to look a bit meh, right? I suppose that's a nice way of putting it. And the second one, I've got the ageless, timeless Alvin Kamara. Just this guy, every year he comes out, he produces, he does well. He's come right back in, doesn't look like he's missed a step. If anything, he looks healthier than ever. And he's going up against the Indianapolis Colts. And at 7,300, only $100 more than you have a Travis Etienne. I think either of them are going to be really safe plays for your teams.
Yeah, I think first of all, you mentioned about TJ Watt scaring Trevor Lawrence. I think obviously it's Halloween at the weekend. And I think the way Etienne's playing, it's definitely going to be a treat for the Steelers. It's going to be a treat for the owners that are playing him as well. So really outstanding stats this season. He's someone that I think most people are fading at his price, but he's really taken the role as a free down back as Etienne, and he's in a great offense. He's going to get touchdown upside. Plenty to like in him, but yeah, Alvin Kamara as well, just another guy that we really, really do love. He's come back from his suspension and he's been on fire. So I think both are great as solid cash plays. Both were really popular. I think with both these guys as well, they could easily end up in your GPP tournament lineups as well.
Yeah, absolutely agreed. And you got some wide receivers kind of the same, just seem to be two slam dunk wide receivers. One, especially at the minute, Kev, you must be so happy with.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a shock actually. AJ Brown 8,000 against Washington. I thought it would be closer between him and Devontae Smith.
Me too.
I felt that the rankings in formats like Dynasty and Redraft were a little bit off. I thought it should have been closer, but I've been wrong. It's been AJ Brown. He's really taken that sort of Batman role in the offense, and it's Devontae Smith being Robin rather than the similar like the Spider-Mans as such. So he's playing fantastic. He's on this massive streak where he's hitting 125 yards a week and five receptions. So really pleased with him. He's got a nice match against the Commanders, and then the alternative, Christian Kirk, again, someone that's been on fire. 5,900 at the Steelers. I think it's shaping up like there's a lot of nice Jags plays on this slate. It's just who would you bring them back with? Is it Pickens? But in cash, we're not really too bothered. We just want the solo plays. We mentioned Etienne running back. If you don't go down that route, I think Christian Kirk's a fine option at 5,900, and he's going to be popular because people are seeing what Calvin Ridley didn't do last week and get a bit off by that.
Yeah, I did mention on the Dynasty show that actually, because my luck is so, I'm dropping Calvin Ridley in a lot of my Dynasty teams next week, so expect him to go absolutely nuclear this week. So keep that in the back of your mind for any tournament plays, especially, because it's definitely going to come back and bite me. So hopefully not too badly though. I've got some flex plays for you now, Kev. You always sort of said running back is quite a good option for your flex plays in these cash lineups, right?
Oh yeah, it's just the fact that they're giving you such a solid volume and floor is perfect, really.
Yeah, so I've gone for two running backs here. I've gone for two guys who looked great last week, and I don't see too much reason for that to change. We got Gus Edwards at the Baltimore Ravens. We talked about that matchup, attacking that matchup. He looked really, really good last week. He was the leading receiver, oddly, for the Ravens, just because of that one reception where he went for like 80 yards, which was obviously huge for any kind of scoring that he might get. He's at 5,500. He looks the better of the running backs in that backfield, I think. So I think he should be pretty safe there against Arizona. The second one, Darrell Henderson coming right in, sweeping up, cleaning up, taking all the workload over at the Rams. He's going up against a pretty tough defense with Dallas, but he's only 4,800, which I think is a really, really nice sort of price to play for someone who looks like he will be the workhorse running back.
Yeah, he had a great last week, did Henderson, so I think he's going to be popular at that price. You can pay down at running back, especially if you're fitting in guys like AJ Brown, Lamar Jackson, Etienne. You can probably get a couple of those in if you've got Henderson in the lineup, which I think, all you're targeting is volume. You're targeting chalk players that are going to be popular. I think at that price, he is going to be really popular. Yeah,
absolutely. And we've got some popular tight ends perhaps coming up as well, Kev, right?
Yeah, Cash tight end number one. It's a guy that on National Tight Ends Day actually broke out fully for the first time this season in Darren Waller, who's 5,200 against the Jets. I think again a great matchup. Someone that had a fantastic week 7, and that's going to be on people's minds. The fact that he had a great game last time. He's at home against the Jets. Even if he was away, he'd be at home against the Jets. So I think he's someone that's a really safe, really solid play at that cost. And then an alternative to him would be Dalton Schultz, 3,900 at the Panthers. Again, someone that had a slow start to the season, but past couple of weeks before the bye, he's really ramped up his sort of targets, the touchdowns. He's becoming a favourite target of CJ Stroud. So again, Dalton Schultz, 3,900. Really, really solid price. And if you're taking, say, Schultz over Waller, just freeing up more money to take those big hitters.
Yeah, absolutely love it. And I think it's nice to free up some money, and tight end is somewhere that's quite easy to do it. And you end up with someone like a Dalton Schultz, who isn't a bad play at all, and you still get to save cash. So I love both those players. And I've got some defenses and special teams for your cash lineups. And say this quietly, but some people are calling the Kansas City Chiefs the best defense in the NFL. Some people. Now, while it might look flashy to have the 49ers or the Browns, the Kansas City Chiefs are the only team in the NFL to not concede more than 21 points. They have on paper the best defense in the NFL. Although it is hard to see that whenever you have, obviously, the Browns and the 49ers. I'm just saying what some other people are saying. But they're 3,900. They're going up against the absolutely terrible Denver Broncos, who the Chiefs have already swept aside this year. I mean, give Andy Reid a second crack at someone as well. I think this is going to look pretty good for the Chiefs defense up against the Broncos. So I think they could score big at 3,900. And then one that really stood out to me is someone like a defense that people might traditionally say is better than the Chiefs. You can get the Cleveland Browns defense going up against, quite a tough Seattle Seahawks. They're only $3,000, which I thought was just a screaming value on the play.
Yeah, I think everything you said there makes sense. Like the Chiefs, I think the matchup is fantastic. The fact that 21 points, obviously that is a great start. I think they're going to be really popular against Russell Wilson and Sean Payton, who with that offense, it's not really been what we expected. They had a massive game against the Commanders in a bit of garbage time, aided by a Hail Mary, which that's such a low percentage play. But other than that, really struggled. I think, Browns, if we're just talking about actual, not thinking about fantasy, just real life, I think the Browns defense has to be top 2 in the league this season, just with what they've done and who they've played, etc. But that's going to make them popular at 3,000. A lot of players in DFS tend to sort of have a cut-off point and say, right, when I get to this amount, I'm not paying above because it's such an unpredictable position. I think Browns are going to be super enticing and popular for that reason. And obviously the Chiefs at the higher end. But again, all you want is popularity and cash.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the end of our cash lines. And we're going to move into tournaments. Different ball game. What you want is you want to come in first place. You want to beat everybody else. And the only way to do that is to have more of a unique team probably, but one that still scores really highly. You're going to have to take a little bit more risk in order to get there, though. So who are some of your more riskier players, or your more players that you think are more inclined to do well in tournaments, Kev? You're going to kick us off with 2 quarterbacks, right? And I love the sound of the first one.
Yeah, I can't really call the first one a risky play, but I think when you think about your tournament, you want players that can be number 1 overall at the position on the week. You're looking at guys that have literally got superb ceilings, and you can clearly see him hitting that. And I can see that this week with Patrick Mahomes, 8,400. He's playing Denver. It's a fantastic matchup. Yes, there is a little bit of pause with, can Denver do enough to keep pushing him to hit those high points? Will it get to a point in the second half maybe where someone we're going to come on to very soon could shine as well? But I just think, look at the matchup. He's got, I think, Denver bottom 2 against QBs. He's also got a tight end who you may have seen on the telly a couple of times. It's got a really fine matchup as well. So, really good idea to consider Mahomes in your GPP lineups. And then the alternative, there was quite a few actually that I thought were a bit cheeky. I think Derek Carr was one that came to mind as someone a little bit under the radar that's started to play a little bit better the past couple of weeks. But I went for Sam Howell, 5,200 against the Eagles. You know that the Eagles secondary has been sort of the weak point of the defense. Sam Howell had a great game against them in Philly. Yeah. And at that price, 5,200, it's absolutely dirt cheap. He's got stack options. You've got bring back options as well. We mentioned AJ Brown on the other side. So if you've got him in your lineup, you're opening up the door to take these high ticket either wide receivers or running backs.
Yeah, I love that. I love that you're given like the high end ticket option here, and then if you want to go the complete opposite way, you've got a lower end guy like Sam Howell that can do that for your team as well. So absolutely love those picks, Kevin. Two running backs. I mean, I sound like a bit of a broken record here. I'm picking another Chiefs player. It's not because I'm a massive homer. It's because Denver are awful. Like that really is like I picked whoever's playing Denver every week. Like it's not just the Chiefs thing, right? So I'm taking Isaiah Pacheco in at 6,100 up against Denver. He's already had a brilliant game against Denver this season, and I expect him to do the same again. I think he got like 15, 16 points against Denver last time out. Expect more of the same, which is, more than double of your value here. So Isaiah Pacheco, good value at 6,100. Second one, slightly more expensive, but a guy that's looked really solid. And the Green Bay Packers do not look the same without him in that team. It's Aaron Jones, and he's going up against a very unpredictable Minnesota Vikings, but I know one thing about them, and that's that they concede a lot of points. So I think Aaron Jones should do well at 6,400 in your tournament plays.
Yeah, I think like we touched upon on the home, I think Pacheco again, a super matchup, really attainable price, 6,100. He's really taking over the backfield. He's getting the pass down work as well in certain scenarios. So I think whichever way that it goes, if it does become a shootout, which I would be absolutely surprised if it was. But if it did get into that, you've got that comfort that it can still go that way. You've also got the comfort that if they're absolutely tonking him out of the park, he's got a pathway to being sort of 100 yards on the ground, 2 touchdown type of game if he got like a fluky long touchdown, say a 30, 40-yard touchdown, that's well within the range. Aaron Jones caught me off guard a little bit because I think Minnesota run defense is better than sort of pass defense, but again, that could be because people can just pass on them if they want. I think, like you mentioned, it's going to create a lot of red zone opportunities. We know Aaron Jones is super efficient around the end zone, and probably someone that is lower owned than a lot of the other guys. They've got more expensive players, like you mentioned, Kamara, Etienne, etc. Aaron Jones, we know in any given week he's got a super ceiling, so can't argue with that in GPP.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's been looking really good this year. And speaking of looking good this year, it took some of these guys a bit of time to warm up, your wide receivers, but when they hit, they really hit, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, this is kicking it off with Jamar Chase. 8,100. He's at the 49ers, which people will just see San Fran and think, that's not a great matchup. But pass game-wise, that's not where they're amazingly strong in terms of wide receiver. I think it's not as bad a matchup as people think. We've seen the past couple of games that Chase has been fed the rock. Part of that is down to T. Higgins coming back from injury, but I just think in this game environment and in this season environment, really, because the way that last weekend went with the Browns winning, the Ravens winning, the Steelers winning, the Bengals have got no room to mess this up now. This is literally a playoff game for them, and in your biggest games, you want the ball in your receiver's hands. So I expect a massive game from Jamar Chase. Then the alternative, Terry McLaurin, 5,300 against the Eagles. I like the stack with Howell. I like the bring back with AJ Brown. I just feel that it's going to be a game where there's plenty of volume for him. Dotson's not been as effective as we thought. Curtis Samuel, sporadic. I think tight end wise, it's a great match against the Eagles, but Logan Thomas didn't do much last time against them, whereas McLaurin's always had pretty solid success against the Eagles. So I think, at that price, it's perfect. It could have even been in that flex because of how low it is in price. So if I'm building, say, three lineups this week, one of them's going to be Howell, McLaurin, and AJ Brown. So please don't copy me.
I actually love the Jamar Chase one. I think you're onto something there with like that San Fran defense not being amazing, going against the pass. And I think a lot of that will be then, because that people will like maybe be too afraid to pick Jamar Chase. And if people are afraid to pick Jamar Chase, then that's a good opportunity to have him in your team, because we seen only a couple of weeks ago he was able to like win people tournaments almost on his own. He was that good. So I love that pick for sure. And I've got 2 picks at the flex position. One of them I feel really dirty about. But that's kind of why I picked him, because I feel like everybody will feel really dirty about him and not want to select him as Cam Akers. I don't like Cam Akers. I don't think Cam Akers is very good. However, I do appreciate that he did take over a little bit last time, and he might be able to get a couple of more opportunities ahead of Alexander Mattison going up against Green Bay. That's all I want. I want people with opportunities. And the fact that it makes me feel disgusting picking him, I'm hoping it makes other people that way as well, so they'll avoid it completely, and he might help me in my tournament lineups. It's a bit of backwards engineering a little bit, but I've sort of painted. You talk about painting pictures and telling stories, Kev. So that's the story I'm telling myself, is that Akers is actually a good pick, but people will feel too disgusting about it to actually pick him. And the second one, hey, guess what? It's another Kansas City Chiefs player. It is the emerging Rashee Rice. He's looking better and better and better every week. Not quite hit 100 yards yet, but he's got close. I think against the Denver Broncos, this is the game that we see Rashee Rice break 100 yards. And at only $5,000, I think that's an absolute steal.
Yeah, he's just warming up really nicely as Rice. I think Cam Akers, wow, what a guy he is. Like, I'm here for it. Like, I've had a soft spot for Akers for years. He's not lived up to the expectations after the injury, but I think I won't have him as a flex. I would have him as a running back, though. I think if you're paying down at running back 2, that's opened up so many possibilities at that price.
Yeah.
Like, it's getting the mind boggling as to what you could do with having him in your lineup. And I've seen Miller make lineups with guys in that literally don't do anything. I've seen other big tournaments where, yeah, they can win it and they've got a couple of points from a player. So don't be put off by that. If he has this game where it goes off as well, like you mentioned, such a low ownership. And Rashee Rice, yeah, I can't believe you said you're not home, and then we've just literally gone through the Chiefs. We've got the QB, we've got the running back, wide receiver, defense. I mean, we have to get the final piece very soon. But yeah, Rashee Rice is doing fantastic. He's taken that Juju role really well now, and he's really warming up nicely.
Yeah, absolutely. Go on, Kev. Put the final Infinity Stone in the Chiefs gauntlet against the Broncos. Then we're talking tight ends. Tell us all about Noah Gray.
I mean, I don't even want to mention his name because like all I can see is like Taylor Swift and Brittany Mahomes doing that little like high fiving and
awful.
I'll be honest, I kind of like it, you know. I'm in a minority. I'm in a minority. I think it's quite funny that there's these two young girls having a lot of fun and loads of old men sat on the couch screaming, "You suck!" So yeah, it's really really heartwarming. But yeah, Travis Kelce. Let's get back to him. Yeah. 8,400. He's at the Broncos. Such a fantastic matchup. He's having an amazing season. I think his best ever season. He's beating that in fantasy points per route run. So if he keeps this up, then I think Travis Kelce owners need to be sending a big high five to Taylor Swift as well. Whatever she's doing off the field is really well helping him on the field. But yeah, enough about Kelce. Alternative, this is gross because he's a guy that's not done a lot this season. Chiga Okonkwo, 3,000 against Atlanta. I think Atlanta's team's pretty solid on defense. The weakness is tight end spot. Chig, he's not done a ton. It could be a combination, a strange cocktail at QB of Malik Willis and Will Levis. So that's going to put people off. But that's, again, an opportunity where people are fading the Titans, I've got the name then, as a whole. Dive in, 3,000. It's a punt position. What could go wrong?
Yeah, I think you're absolutely spot on. Just either... Yeah, I think a general advice for tight ends could be Travis Kelce or punt it, right? That could be like a general thing we could say to people every week at the tight end position. And I'm going to dive in with some of our defenses and special teams. I've got, going in 3,700. I've got the Saints going up against Indianapolis Colts. I know Gardner Minshew played quite well, but I think he might come back down to earth a little bit against the Saints, who are traditionally and have been this year a pretty solid defense to go against. But the one I really want to talk about, Kev, right? 2,000. The cheapest defense you can buy somehow is the New England Patriots. The reason is they're playing the Miami Dolphins. But at $2,000, you can't say no to Bill Belichick's defense at $2,000, right?
I absolutely love the pick because people automatically will see Dolphins, Tyreek Hill, Waddle, etc. and be, they're not on my list. So that puts them on the list because we know that defense, it's very random, and you just got to try and think, can the team get pressure? Can they cause disruption that could lead to a defensive touchdown, which is so random? I think we saw on Sunday Night Football with the Eagles that the Dolphins' offense, it's not unbeatable. I know you mentioned earlier on tonight that some people are calling the Dolphins flat track bullies. We're not comparing the Patriots and the Eagles defense because it's very different, but I just think Patriots did a job on the Bills pretty well.
Yeah.
2,000. I mean, what if they get 6 points, 8 points? You've done well. And then you've got the random factors of if they get a safety or a random touchdown, they're in double figures. You're hitting. If you get double figures, you're going to be a top 4 defense probably. So I love it, Max. What pick?
Yes, that guy just really, it stood out to me. It's like Bill Belichick, dude. Like, come on, like can't say no. So I think I'll be picking him in a few pieces for sure. And before we wrap up, we've got our pick of the week as well. So someone that you think is just outstanding value that we haven't really mentioned yet on the show. So who have you got for your pick of the week, Kev?
On Breece Hall, 5,900.
Yeah.
At the Giants, but it's a home game if we're being truly honest. It's just been warming up really nicely the past couple of weeks, coming off the bye week as well, I believe. So he's going to be fresh. He's ready to roll. Giants beatable, 5,900. I think it's still a steal in DFS pricing, despite some massive games he's had over the past couple of weeks. So yeah, he's my pick of the week. If I had to nail myself to one player, it's a Breezy week.
Yeah, for me, I almost went Julio Jones for this. I was so close. It's 3,200. I was so close. Like he's so cheap. I was like, oh, you can't bring Julio in and not like get him a little like trot him around, preen around. I think against the Commanders, they might have a chance to do that. But I've gone safer. I've said Deontay Johnson. Deontay Johnson is only $5,000, and Deontay Johnson is one of the most solid, like dependable people. You seen him come in last week. He looked really, really good. He picked up right where he left off. He's up against Jacksonville Jaguars, who are a pretty good defense, but I think Kenny Pickett's going to be looking for Deontay Johnson all day long. He's going to continue to feast on. He'll easily, I think, get you that 5,000 returned pretty well. And I think especially in cash lineups, he's a super safe option. So that's my pick of the week. And guys, that brings us to the end of the show. Thank you so much for tuning in and listen to us talk a little bit. Hopefully we have a chance to make you guys some money. And don't forget, if you'd like to bring it to the best two, then you can get into the Wildcard DFS Moneymaker contest each week. Just keep your eyes peeled. Make sure you're looking over on X. You can find us at Wildcard DFS and at Fantasy Wildcard as well. So keep your eyes peeled for that Moneymaker challenge. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next week.